Hello legends, and welcome back to the Blunt Force Healing Podcast. This is number of the episode. It's, I believe, 404. That's a nice. For those of you that are in IT and or dealt with anything related to maybe coding or web design, in particular the code, or dealing with that, 404 is a nice number. Because 404 means not found. It's a particular error code in IT that serves as a client side, like browser, internet browser, to show or respond to the user when some resource is not found. So this is the number of the episode, and this is the number of a day, and a particular day and streak of a number of days that this project is going on. So it started 404 days ago. Can you imagine? It's basically without any break. This is ongoing for 404 days. And by this, I mean the blog, because this podcast that you're listening or watching is underpinned by the blog. And within that blog, every day I post some write-up, and part of this write-up is embedded video. And the video that you're watching probably, or listening to the episode in audio. So this is the whole project. It's called Blunt Force Healing because I believe that these days and in general, the best way we learn and we heal as humans is by blunt force, and not meaning that somebody hits you with a hammer or something like that, but it's a metaphor for learning the hard way, making mistakes, being a bit bitten by life from time to time. It's the best teacher, because for some reason we learn by memorizing, I would say, uncomfortable experiences or things that happen to us that we don't want to repeat in future the best. Yes, we have courses, we have different mechanisms or methods to learn different things in our life, but I believe the best teacher is life itself, and blunt force by saying basically that the hardship of life is teaching us the best. And I'm not saying that you have to go through the hard life to learn anything, but going through hard moments in life teaches you probably the most efficiently and long term, so you don't forget things that happen to you. And so Blunt Force Healing podcast and blog is ongoing for 404 days. Recent week was quite dull and not much was happening, so it's not the most entertaining podcast, I would say, for many people, but I have a great and loyal set of watchers, listeners, and readers, which I really appreciate, that actually spend their time and are interested in stuff that I talk about. Majority of the posts and the podcast covers the updates of a daily life, like, because it's a journal. This whole project is a journal, and it's about daily updates, and it's in general means for me to be accountable against those people that listen, watch, and read. Accountable to myself, that I continue one big kind of core routine, which is blogging and podcasting, and it helps me a little bit with my procrastination in life. So that was the whole idea of this project. The update for today will be short. I'm going to pick Julian from school. It's Friday, and it's, I think, the last day before a short break, the Halloween break for Julian. So they were allowed to dress however they want today. Many of you probably don't know, but Ireland follows the principle of uniforms in school. So every school has specific set of colors and uniforms that all the kids dress to. So there's no fashion shows in school or at school. I think it's a brilliant concept. It adds a bit of effort because parents need to buy those uniforms, and you would think that they are not useful outside of school, but because of how that culture works in Ireland and the attitude and in general kind of easygoing, it turned into a part of fashion for kids and teenagers. So they actually like those uniforms so much that they spend most of the day after school, even when they are in town or anywhere else. They just use them as a normal, dress code, I guess. So it doesn't matter. If they want, they will change into something else, but most of them are just not bothered because there's that perception of everyone is kind of equal and it's not cringe or anything like that. So they focus more on talks about experiences together rather than how they are dressed, etc. So I like that principle, to be honest, and I think I support it. So today was one of those kind of loose or freestyle days when they can dress up however they want. Most of the kids would probably choose to dress into something scary or fancy Halloween dresses. Julian decided to go fancy, and he dressed up as he would like to dress every day. So he took his favorite pants, favorite hoodie, and also his favorite shoes. I guess this is the time where Julian is kind of traversing into early teens and starts caring more about how he looks. So I think the days are gone where Julian was my little boy only and was caring about fun and games. He's caring more about looks at the moment too. So it is exciting part of life and raising him as a young boy. So that's lovely. I have a couple of updates for you guys. I'm just gonna drop now, pick up Julian, see how the rest of the day develops, and keep recording the next segment soon. See ya. And welcome back. So it's 5:25 p.m. 24. I have about 30-40 minutes until sunset. So much better than yesterday or the days before. I'm hoping to get some mushrooms because I just wanted to eat some mushrooms today and yesterday for breakfast, but I didn't have any fresh mushrooms, only the dried ones. So I need some fresh bodies to consume. And I know that it's a massive, I would say, infestation of Armillaria species. These are actually quite bad for the forest because not only they cause rot, but they spread very easily. For me, that means, there's plenty to collect, and by saying plenty of them, I mean it. When they grow in bunches and in patches, so there's really massive amount of them when they start fruiting. And I saw them yesterday, 2 species, I think, Armillaria ostoyae and Armillaria mellea. They are both called honey fungus in the US mostly, and in Europe as well. Majority of foragers that are not really interested in differentiating them, they always collect them as honey fungus, and it's like a group. But these are different species, and there are quite differences between them, but in general they are all edible, so there's not much benefit from differentiating them, other than for people like myself or others that really care about knowing mushrooms. But they are different, and even slightly in taste, not so much in nutritional values, but they are very interesting mushrooms, especially that for those of you in the US, especially on I think in Oregon. In Oregon State, there is the biggest spread of Armillaria ostoyae. It has been researched extensively, and it turns out that it's most likely the biggest living organism on Earth. Its weight in total is about 24,000 tons, and it's spread across some amazing number of acres. I believe it's counted in hundreds of football pitches in terms of the coverage. So it's a massive fungus, and we are talking about the mycelium, so the actual fungus underground. So imagine these are just like a tiny fibers that are connected in the network, and they create like a net underground from where the fruit bodies are coming up. So they are not counting any fruit bodies. This is just the mass of that network underground. 24,000 tons. I'll just leave it as is and let you digest. That's a massive mushroom and massive living organism. So far, I think the people or just scientists thought that the biggest living organism is I think it's one of those blue whales. That was a massive animal anyway. But if we talk about the living organism, this one beats it by scale. So it's at the moment it's sun is about set in about half an hour. So I'm gonna drop to the station, get evening coffee, which I shouldn't be taking, but I will take anyway. It's Friday. I want to get that kick. It seems like it's high tide. I'll update you about other things that happened today. Maybe not super interesting, but worth mentioning in the next segment, which will happen likely, I would say, in about a couple of minutes. I just need to stop by and get that coffee. Alright, so we're back. I have my coffee. I took 2 scones. I'm going to finish what I started talking about, but I also plan on finishing all those scones and coffee habits. That is not the best, to be honest, for me and for anyone else. So I recently actually heard about a very interesting thing that I need to research further, because I don't believe anything straight away when somebody tells me, obviously. It sounds a little bit too far-fetched, but it also sounds slightly worrying and remotely possible that our culture of buying coffee in reusable cups, well, non-reusable cups, so the paper cups that we have in the coffee shops, some people don't think about it. I thought about it a lot, but not in that sense. These cups are made of paper, right? Regardless if it's recycled paper, some other form of paper. Paper doesn't play well with any fluid or any beverage, in fact, especially warm ones. And coffee would likely make it soggy and just spill over. So there is inside some type of lining within those paper cups to prevent that. And if you ever, like myself, reuse the non-reusable cup, paper cup, at home, for example, I drink coffee, then I empty whatever the reminder is, like let's say flush it to make sure that it's fairly fresh. If it's in a good state, obviously, that cup gets reused once or twice at my house, because first, I think that's my contribution to less landfill or slower production of landfill. On the other hand, I just feel better to reuse that instead of just binning it. And this lining is made out of some form of plastic. So these walls of those paper cups are likely sprayed with some form of plastic, be it some layer of foil or anything synthetic that will keep the water off penetrating it and getting into the paper of the cup. And the thing that I've heard and that was cited as a research was about nanoparticles that are getting released every time when that paper cups are filled with hot coffee, or in fact, let's say water and just putting the tea bag in. It doesn't matter. Any hot beverage in reaction with that lining, in theory or in practice, unless this research is just a sponsored bullshit, is releasing nanoparticles of that plastic into the beverage, and we are drinking it, which over time, obviously long period of time and in a very, very small amounts, gets lined up somewhere in our body, because this thing is not excreted very well. And the claim is that not only it stays in our body, but it's because it's of nano size, it actually can traverse into the cells, which is scary as shit. So apologies for language. So I don't want to claim it is true. For now it is not, but it raised my eyebrows, and I want to check more on that and see first if there's a medical paper about it or any PubMed article that is a proper and confirmed medical research? Second, what does it actually say and what are conclusions? Because even if the papers are produced and quoted very often in some Instagram, TikTok videos, or even in podcasts, some people have tendency of taking bits of that and claiming something that is not necessarily the subject of the paper and not the conclusion of the paper. So, cherry picking sides of paper are prevalent in many of those videos. That's why I want to make sure that I read that paper with understanding, see what the conclusion is and what are the results, and if it really is something to be bothered about. If it is, that means end of the non-reusable paper cups for me, because I aim to live fairly healthy and longer if possible, and if I can, I minimize exposure to stuff that's already researched, and this is one of them. For now, I want to get off coffee for a small detox for about a week or month, just to, clear up my body of it and just feel better. And then feel even better when I return to coffee, so it gives me a proper boost and tastes better. Today's update. Two things in particular happened that I was waiting for and they were dragging for too long. The boiler thing, or the heat pump that is causing us a bit of headache. Two things about it. First was that the underfloor heating was not working, and I used the word was because it seems like it is now. It was not working for a long time before summer. It, like the probe under the floor or whatever, the thermostat started displaying error 1, which is short for error 1, and basically the probe wasn't working. I couldn't set the heating, and we weren't bothered too much because the summer was pretty warm and the autumn wasn't cold either. Now when it started getting colder, I asked for the plumber to come in. He checked. He said that he will replace the thermostat because it needs to be replaced. So he ordered thermostat. It took a while, and today he responded that not only he ordered it, but they sent the wrong thermostat, so he would need to reorder it. Oh, and the sheep are coming again to me, which is weird. What the hell? Let me stop for a moment and record it. What the hell is happening? Yeah, so these guys did the same thing yesterday. And you can hear them. As soon as I came or parked the car, they started gathering here. And the best part is that these guys were so easy to scare and to be frightened. Even when I closed the trunk of the car, they would go away, and they were just single sheep in here. So I don't know what happened, but yesterday and today they are gathering around me, which is quite an interesting thing. So let me close the window so they don't cause too much of disruption in the background. And let me switch back to the camera. Yeah, so you can see I have a very interesting experience here. They also gathered like that yesterday in the evening, and their eyes were reflecting the light of my phone's torch. So basically they were looking like demons in the dark, just the shiny eyes staring at me. Anyway, so that boiler thing is sorted to some extent. The pump is still triggering itself regularly, so the plumber said that he'll get back on to me about it when he gets some advice from the representative from that company that produces those pumps. But he was able to provide me with the reset combination and instructions to see if it's just a glitch or kind of some error that can be cleared. And it seems like it worked, because the thermostat is now allowing me to set the temperature, and it seems like it's triggering the heating, underfloor heating as well. So that's sorted, I hope. But we still need that pump to be sorted, and we'll see if they have any suggestion for me before somebody comes in and assesses it and maybe replaces it or whatever. I asked him also if there's any chance to get some workaround to suppress that pump for the night, because it's during the night when it becomes the most annoying, because it can disrupt the sleep. So I just want to make sure that I can do some suppression, but also the suppressing it is done safely and not just causes more problem. The second thing is that we got confirmation for Julian's appointment at the doctor's. He will be assessed by the cardiologist, but I mean pediatrician cardiologist, so specifically focused on children's health and children's heart. We got the confirmed date and hour in Dublin, 8th of November. So he will have Holter as well, which is 24 hours monitoring of his heart rate, and then it will be sent back to the hospital so they can assess it. If you don't know, or you're not up to date with what happened to Julian, he had a situation with when we needed to call emergency services and the ambulance. It wasn't anything suddenly threatening or anything critical, but after the assessment. But it seems like over the next couple of weeks, and actually over 2 months now, he still feels some weird sensation, or his heart not behaving like it should. I'm not a doctor. So far I've checked. The only thing that I might be concerned about is that he might genetically got some arrhythmia, but like not the arrhythmia that endangers the life, but just a natural irregular rhythm of the heart at times that doesn't cause any problems. But if it's that, I want it to be diagnosed by a doctor, not by myself, obviously. If there's anything else, we will learn it. I hope not. Anything else looks fine, and he seems healthy because he was checked by the ambulance services, then by the GP, so like a first contact doctor. And I think the only thing we do it for is not only to make sure that we put him into a more calm state, but to avoid him worrying too much and building on that anxiety for later to adulthood, which is the worst thing that can happen to a human being, to be honest. So that's the main reason. I don't expect any health problems from him, but we need to be aware of that and listen to him. He feels it the most, so we want it to be checked. So these two things were the main highlights of the day. I'm currently now, they're still here. You can see they're still waiting for something. I have nothing for them, but I'll see if I can cross that gate and see if they will run away or they will just let me pass through. I don't know which ones are the actual rams, because some of them seem to have horns, some of them not, but I know for a fact that both in cattle or cows and in sheep, horns doesn't mean male of that species. There are horned females as well, so it depends on the species, not on the gender or sex of the particular animal. All right, so I'll stop now. I'll see what I can get in the forest and then record another segment. I'm not sure if there will be enough time to use because I have 30 minutes limit on Spotify video. Quick one. I hope you can hear me more than the actual river that's just below. I need to be careful while filming because, as you can see, the bank is very, very steep and slippery, and there's a lot of water coming from the mountains, so the river is maybe not too deep, but it wouldn't be pleasant to fall in and probably lose my phone and get cold, wet, trying to get out someplace along the river. So yeah, it's still fairly bright. All right, this place is not the best way that I could go about things, but I guess I need to go underneath it and make sure that I don't break my neck or anything else. So it becomes a bit raw. I went there already once the other way because I was coming from the other side. The reason why I walk along the river towards that place is because I found a couple of chanterelles yesterday and today, which is quite late for them, especially for the true chanterelles. They are very tasty. In many restaurants they look for them and they import them from countries like, you know, Poland or anywhere else. Well, actually, I think I found this is the hedgehog mushroom that is very young, but it's edible. So I'm going to pack it into my almighty collection net. There's another one. I just need to make sure that I don't collect too much of the debris with it. There's a small one there as well, but I'll leave it to grow. There's more underneath, so I'll just cover it and see if maybe in 2 days time it grows bigger. It should. It's cold, so not many species of mushrooms are available at the moment, So, you know, I'm happy when I find something else than honey mushrooms. Okay, this is a bit steep and worrying. I need to cross a couple of streams, so let me drop now and see if I can find some late chanterelles in the place that I know they were. Yep, so this is it, guys. I suspect I will have to... some creepy building. I'll have to edit some of the videos or crop them, or actually cut them and trim to the level where they are useful within 30 minutes, because I just looked at gallery and the segments that I recorded are already beyond 30 minutes, and Spotify video only allows 30 minutes. So not sure about YouTube, but as you can see, it's quite dark. I don't want to record too much anymore because, as I said, I already crossed that 30 minutes boundary. I was hoping to get Corey, the red deer that I called his name. I didn't hear him, or in fact I haven't seen any of the deer today nor yesterday, so I suspect there must be elsewhere. From the positive side, I actually found a couple of mushrooms, as I showed you in one segment, the wood hedgehog, a very tasty and nutritious mushroom that is one of my favorites. Small specimens, but still I take them. I also found a couple more chanterelles, the true chanterelles, not the winter ones, the nice vibrant orange ones with the apricot smell or scent. And I also found a couple of black variety of Trametes versicolor, which is commonly named turkey tail. It's a medicinal mushroom. It used to be medicinal mushrooms, one of the mushrooms in the past, and it's still being used. And I basically dry it and combine with, I will probably combine it with my birch polypore. Oh, it's getting really dark, so you won't be able to see me. There's no point in continuing. Wait. Oh, I thought that something is moving, but it was a bloody stream of water. So, yes, the Trametes versicolor, aka turkey tail, a very nice mushroom. Albeit the best option for it is to extract some of its medicinal features in water, because some of the compounds are water soluble, and the rest is better to extract in alcohol if somebody knows how to or likes it in this format, I would say. I never done anything in alcohol, so I most likely won't be doing it. It's really dark at the moment, so I'll stop now. I hope you have a great rest of the day, afternoon, evening, wherever you are. I'm going back home. I'll edit this video, stitch it together, upload it, and write the blog post afterwards. Stay tuned and see you tomorrow.